In this question, we're asked to compare the relative frequency in the table below. And we can see in the first column, we have the tar in milligrams. In the second column, we have the relative frequency for non-filtered cigarettes. And in the third column, we were asked to find the relative frequency for the filtered cigarettes. In this case, I'm going to pull up the data set by clicking on the frequency distribution icon. I'm also going to bring this up in Excel. And I'm going to add a couple of columns. So I'm going to enable editing. And I'm going to add a column here. And I'm going to call this relative frequency. And I'm also going to add another column here, relative frequency. Okay, now in order to find the relative frequency, I'm going to add up all of the frequencies for the non-filtered cigarettes. So I'm simply going to select all of the cells. I'm going to hit this auto sum, and it gives me a sum of 25. In order to find the relative frequency for non-filtered cigarettes, I'm going to take the frequency and simply divide by the cumulative frequency for that particular class. For example, for non-filtered cigarettes that have between 18 and 23 milligrams of tar, the relative frequency would be 2. So I'm going to hit equal sign. 2 divided by 25, and we have 8%. For the next class, 24 to 29, I'm going to take that frequency, which is 0. So I'm using, whenever you perform operations in Excel, you must begin with an equal sign. 0 divided by 25, so we have 0 as the relative frequency there. And I'll complete the same procedure for the last 3 classes. So for the next class, we have 15 divided by 25. The next class is 6 divided by 25, which is 24%. And lastly, 2 divided by 25. I'll do the same procedure for the filtered cigarettes. I'll simply add up all of our frequencies. So again, we have 25. For the relative frequency, I'll simply divide the frequency in that class by the cumulative frequency. So for the class of filtered cigarettes with 6 to 11 milligrams of tar, the relative frequency would equal to 1 divided by 25, which is 4%. For our next class, we have 3 divided by 25, which is 12%. And we have 20% for the 18 to 23 milligrams of filtered cigarettes that have tar. And then lastly, 24 to 29 milligrams of tar in filtered cigarettes has a relative frequency of 64%. Now I'll enter our relative frequency into my math lab. So here we have to pay careful attention. Notice that our data set doesn't contain 6 to 11 milligrams of tar for non-filtered cigarettes. Therefore, the relative frequency is 0. I also have 0 from 12 to 17 milligrams. However, from 18 to 23 milligrams, we have 8%. (24 to 29 for non-filtered was 0. Next we have 60%, 24%, and lastly 8%. The relative frequency for filtered cigarettes that have between 6 and 11 milligrams of tar are slide my Excel sheet over. we have 4%. For 12 to 17, we have 12%. For 18 to 23 milligrams of tar for filtered cigarettes, we have 20%. For 24 to 29 milligrams of tar for filtered cigarettes, we have 64%. And our remaining classes are 0. Now we're asked, do cigarette filters appear to be effective? Yes, because the relative frequency for the higher milligrams of tar are greater in non-filtered cigarettes than in filtered cigarettes.